Good afternoon, everyone. I'm here as a representative of the Hawaii Sustainable Community Alliance, a fairly newly formed organization. And my subject actually is a building code for sustainable living. Probably like a few of you in the audience here, I live in a totally illegal house, which makes me an outlaw. And it's built to many sustainable standards, solar power, catchment water, a whole host of things. I take carbon-free showers. I'm proud of that. I recently felt very privileged to be one of the illegal outlaws when I was at a foreclosure sale and met a woman from the Hamakua coast who had lived for 38 years in her house and was just about to have it taken away from her by the bank. No bank can take my illegal house away. I don't have a mortgage. Thank heavens. What we're about, our organization, is looking for legislation that allows us to build sustainable and affordable houses and not to live as outlaws. But first, to tell you a little bit about my situation personally, I started off with a group of people. We formed a group, a land trust actually. And like a lot of people buying new land, we started off in tents. And like a lot of people, those tents are still up 20 years later. However, I got to move from the tent I moved into a shack that I built with a chainsaw. Yeah, I'd only been in it a couple of years actually. And the woman from the real property tax office came around, asked me what I built it with, because she'd never seen those kind of building materials before. It was ohia that I'd cut down from to make the clearing for my house. Bits and pieces that I'd scavenged from the dump, including some hollow core doors that form my pony walls with the screen above. And she was like, how do I put that on the form here? Anyway, I went on to get a tax bill and actually paid taxes on that dilapidated shack. That's how it is in the county here, actually. Presently, you can build illegally, and you can live in these structures, and you can pay taxes on the structures, but you're forever going to be an outlaw unless we change the law. Our group went on to specialize actually in building low-cost and sustainable buildings. This is a 50-foot by 36-foot covered deck, which was built, as you can see, with ohias and rubber roofing. It was built probably for $5,000 or $6,000, and it's 1,800 square feet. After living there a while, I decided that it would be nice to get off the ground. I was 6 inches off, living hiding away actually, and decided that I got married and was living with some kids, and thought a more healthy place would be better for us all. Talked to an architect friend and said, I'd like to build a house, but we don't have a lot of money, and he encouraged me to go for it. I scraped together less than $40,000 in cash and loans, my wife and I, and the architect friend drew up very nice plans. I did get a permit to build, and I traded circus classes actually with some of my neighbors who helped me form the pad and pour concrete. I got a friend of mine to run a couple of volunteers who came and helped build. I went up to Glenwood where they were tearing down some tomato greenhouses. I came down to our land with used 2x4s. They're all 20 years old. 2x6s, 2x8s. I went to all of the recycling centers, dumps, everywhere. I looked in the paper, got recycled glass, windows, hardware, paint. I ended up only spending about, I don't know, I think it was about $12,000 on lumber from the mainland. And I should show you a picture of my house if I can find it. Oh, there's my house. So anyway, it's it was a work in progress. We moved in, of course, before we connected the water, before we connected the power. For 10 years we've been working on it, and that's the way homesteaders have always done it. They never had a turnkey house, but of course that's, you know, illegal. You can't live in a house unless you've had it finalized right now. The house has a lot of ohia in it that we gathered from our land, and I urge anyone here who cuts down ohia, please recognize the value of it, treat it with respect. The smallest ohia posts you'll see there are probably 100 years old. Big ones take 300 or 400 years to grow. They can be debarked and used very well in construction, and they are actually legal to use. I've lived there very happily for over 10 or 12 years now, and I never did call for any inspections at all. Because I knew from the very beginning that my home would not live up to the Universal Building Code, and I didn't have the money to actually bring it up to that level. And I personally didn't see anything wrong with it at all. So the bank never owned my house, and I'm not at any risk of losing it. I can pass it on to my kid. I've got a place around which I can build my community, and that's what's been happening for us. We've built a number of different structures. This is something we built quite recently, just to demonstrate ohia framing there. Once this house was completed, it's a 24 by 24 house. I figured that we spent less than $20,000 on that with plumbing, electrical, everything. I did want to show you one more photo here. This is the Space Performing Arts Center. And we used a lot of ohia in here, in this building. And some of it was cut down 18 or 20 years before we actually put it up. We took good care of it. It's the main support for that building. And I'm proud to say that is actually a legal building. But at great expense. And this is my point here today, that many of the sustainable building technique and practices that we want to see happen are presently illegal. So what we want to do, that is the Hawaii Sustainable Community Alliance, is present legislation to our county council to get a new building code. It's definitely time to have a change. Yes, thank you. It's definitely time to have a change. And it's time for us to become legal. You know, outlaws don't make good community members, and we don't want to have people hiding off in the jungle and afraid to come and share their mana with everyone. We want to have people who are open and willing to participate, because that's how you build community. It's also time that we use common sense and not the Universal Building Code, because what we want are healthy and safe buildings and habitats. We want to be able to build our homes, our sheds, our greenhouses to a standard that's healthy and safe. And quite frankly, I got lots of examples of why the Universal Building Code that's not what it's about, that's not what it's doing. There's thousands of us, there's many thousands of us right now. And if you want to hear more, please come to the Hawaii Sustainable Community Alliance meeting. We're going to be sharing with you information about our resolution and our ordinance that has made considerable progress so far. Thank you very much.